It's Chris Fade and Caroline Stanbury's Not So Epic podcast.
Brought to you by NMC Healthcare and Cosmosurge. Head to cosmosurge.com.
All right, we're back.
We are. And we've got a great guest today.
We do. We've got I want to say a bit of motivation on the show today, which is super cool. You know, it's Chris and Caroline's Not So Epic podcast. I felt like you've been traveling a lot. I haven't got to actually see you in person. Been doing sometimes these podcasts remotely.
I missed you. It's been nice to have a break.
But you know what? What did I say about social media? I was like, it's weird. We follow each other on Instagram, so we see each other's lives nonstop. So when I saw you and I hadn't seen you probably for 5 weeks, it was like, hi. And you're like, hi, I haven't seen you for a while. I'm like, yeah,
I forget. I see him every day.
Yeah, I know. Annoyingly, we're both annoying each other on Instagram and WhatsApp. Good to have you back.
Thanks.
What are you
Good
wearing?
to be back. My gym clothes, Chris.
So you've just got this big jacket covering the gym clothes, right?
Well, because you always tell me I don't wear enough clothes on this podcast.
Do not. If she's got this jacket on, if she took the jacket off, we've gone into another whole rating. Do not take it off. They're like, take it off. No. No.
Normally I don't have trousers on. Today
Yeah.
I don't have much of a top on, so I'm doing this for
I
you,
like the
Chris.
shoes.
Thanks.
I've got these shoes. They're beautiful. Okay, so everything good with you?
Everything's great with me. Had a great time in New York. Been gone, I think I was there for 10 days, but I want to talk to you about that another time, which is amazing. And it's great to be back. And the weather's so good. I'm loving it here.
Yeah, Dubai's weather is coming out of what we call like the hottest and the humidity that is unbearable for a couple of months.
This room is hot.
Man, I fixed the air conditioning in this room, but it is still a little bit warm. Maybe it's just us. Which camera do I look? Okay, should we go to our guest?
The chemistry between us.
Is good.
Yeah.
Should we go into our guest?
I think we should.
As he pats Coco, my dog, please welcome Ziggy Darwish.
Hi guys.
Hi, Ziggy.
Hi, Ziggy.
Welcome, man.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Coco.
The first thing I said to Ziggy, I'm glad you dressed up for the occasion.
Yeah.
Well, he came as you. Actually, the
band.
roles are reversed.
Thank you very
This is
much.
very
This is
strange for
usually
me.
me.
Yeah, you're usually dressed like that, and well, I've never seen you before, so I don't know how
Well,
you're
the
normally
weather's
dressed.
good now, so I thought I might as well be a beach bum.
No, you look great. He's got the khaki shorts on with the AC/DC, or as we say in Australia, Akadaka t-shirt.
Akadaka.
And for once,
I've come from a meeting, so I had to look
he's actually
somewhat
got sleeves.
He actually-
respectable. Got a
Chris-
collar on.
Chris actually looks like my cousin from Melbourne and the cafe scene. He looks like a restaurant owner in Melbourne.
Let me have
A
a sip of my
waiter?
coffee.
No, not a waiter, like the owner, like just
Oh, the
looking
owner.
slick.
She tries to put me down all the
Yeah,
time.
no, it's all right, I
Ziggy.
got you back, mate. I got you back. Aussie to Aussie. It's all right, mate.
I met Ziggy many years ago when I first sort of came to Dubai. Ziggy was and still is a great personal trainer, fighter, ex-Australian Navy Marine, as you would call it.
Sailor.
Sailor,
Yes,
wow.
I'm sailor. No, I did 6 years in the Royal Australian Navy as a gunnery sailor.
Oh my God.
What does that do? What's a gunnery sailor?
So our job is to do boarding parties, teach people how to use weapons and self-defense, and basically get your hands dirty. If
So we don't want to cross you on a dark night.
No.
No, of course
No,
not. Why would
no.
you even think about that? It's just death wish, mate.
And he's Australian Lebo, which means
Yeah, bro.
we've already got a bad reputation in
we got a
Australia.
I mean,
terrible
seriously, yeah.
But I'm from Melbourne and Brisbane, so we're nice. It's the Sydney Lebos you've got to
the-
watch
yeah,
out for.
my-
The
I'm determined to
troublemakers.
go. I want to go
Oh
to
my
Australia.
gosh.
Still haven't been.
Oh, you'd love it.
I know, I've
Why
gotta
haven't
go.
you- I don't understand why people from Dubai.
because they think
I'm
it's
not
so
from
far.
Dubai.
No, I know you're not from Dubai, but everyone that lives in Dubai
But
is
you
an
look like
expat.
a local Emirati.
Yeah.
No, of course you're not from
Yeah.
Dubai.
It's the blonde and blue-eyed thing.
You'd fit
Look very
perfectly on
local.
the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
She would. She
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be. So, yeah, I mean, I met Ziggy many years ago and we've sort of kept in contact on and off for, the last 10 years. And recently we've been training together at the gym, which has been super cool. Him training me, which has been great.
Well, he's doing a great job. He's dropped some weight and lost.
Have I
Yeah.
dropped some, haven't I? Huh?
You know,
It's
I
good,
like to
doesn't
tell
it?
you when you've got
Thank
too
you. She
big.
tells me when I'm put on the weight, instantly I should walk in. She'll be like, put on a bit of weight. I'm like, thanks, Caroline.
Well, I'm on the
need
train.
someone.
I want him to look good.
She-
We're actually looking at doing a show together about this. So
Yeah.
Can I just say, everyone at home, if I'm a little bit quiet or a little bit anxious, it's because of the coffee that you gave me.
Are you feeling
I
it?
am just beaming right now off
Really?
that coffee you gave me. Oh my!
It was really black
It's
when I
like
gave it to you.
like
It's
normally
like
you have double espresso. It's like 100 espressos in one. wow.
You had this same,
is
a
brilliant.
little bit less coffee. Are you feeling all right?
Oh
though?
yeah, no.
Do you
I'm
need
just,
anything?
I'm just
I'm
like
sweating.
Good.
there.
It is hot in here, though.
I'm there.
Yeah.
We can turn that fan on a little bit.
We could.
Okay, so listen, we're back on the podcast. Thanks for everyone that's been following us, sending in their questions. Follow us at Chris and Caroline on Instagram, and obviously tell your friends about us. We're getting bigger and bigger, and it's baby steps for us, which I really like. Some people are like, "How many views have you got?" And I'm like, you know what? We're good. I like where we're at right now.
We're growing organically, which
Yes.
is nice. And I think that is key for anything like this. People are coming and they're coming back. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Ziggy. The reason why I got Ziggy on, and I really wanted Ziggy on the show, and I think maybe if I asked Ziggy a year ago, she's waving. There's cameras on. They've seen it on the camera.
I know,
We're
sorry.
sorry. Caroline's just waving in to get some
Going
more
through
air
menopause on this show.
Are you really going through menopause?
No, of course
Okay.
not. I'm too young, but thanks,
Okay,
Chris.
sure. I feel like if I asked Ziggy about a year ago, how long ago did the big C hit your life?
You could say 2 years ago to about 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you were the fittest, and you still are very fit, but you were living a life of whatever it is, having the time of your life.
Yeah.
And then cancer.
Yep.
What up? Tell us what happened.
So I was perfectly normal. The wife and I went to the Greek islands for 3 weeks. Really nice, by the way. Go there, but go there after the madness. We did all the typical stuff. Okay. Long story short, I was constipated for about 2 months before this holiday, and I thought nothing of it because as a fitness trainer, I'm always trying new things, right? Trying this diet, trying that diet, and all that fun stuff. Plus, with all due respect, no disrespect, but the food here isn't always the best in terms of healthy.
Sure.
No, I take that back. It's healthy, but for example, I was just in Italy for 3 months, where everything is super organic, and if you get something, it's literally 2 kilometers down the road where you're getting your tomatoes.
Yeah, it grew from the grass, and now you're
pretty
eating
much,
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm in Santorini, and I finally get to go to the bathroom, and I celebrated. And then all of a sudden, I saw blood when I went to the bathroom, and I thought nothing of it. I just thought from the stress and what have you. After a great holiday, went and saw a specialist, and
Was there more blood? Is that why it just kept coming?
It just red, thick blood, and I just thought it was just from stress. That's it.
Yeah.
I went and saw a specialist in that field. I did a stool test, negative. And it's so dumb how they go positive, negative. So the negative is good.
Yeah,
the positive is bad.
negative, yeah.
And he said, no, it's all fine. I gave him my personal training perspective on why I think it's going on. And he said, yep, you're spot on, Mr. Darwish. And then they placed the camera up my bottom.
Is that the colonoscopy?
Yeah.
I've got to do one of those.
Why?
God.
Because that...
Yeah. Well, they say at the age of 40 and up, you should have...
Yeah.
Have you done one of those? I did actually this year, one of those full body everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need to get a camera from a male. I think it's more common in men.
No, it's men, yeah.
It's men. So you need to get a camera up there. They check. Let's
Yeah.
go back. So the camera goes up it.
So the camera went up and they found a 8 centimeter tumor.
So why did you do that if they told you it was out of interest? What
Yeah.
made you then go and do that
After
when they
they
told
said it
you?
was
Yeah,
fine.
Because
it
it was just protocol.
It is protocol.
It's just protocol.
So if anyone else was going in,
Yeah.
then there would be protocol
Yeah.
anyway.
And here's the crazy part. A year before that, I had a checkup and the doctor put a rubber glove on and they stick a finger up your bottom
To check your prostate.
Yeah. Nothing.
But he wouldn't have been able to... I think...
No, we can't get that far up.
Yeah,
surely.
from what I
Yeah.
understand.
No, but the thing was where
How do
they...
you know?
Well, I
Yeah.
don't-
Yeah, well, let's not go that far. But like we did all the medical tests, the blood tests, and everything was fine. But moving a year forward, when I saw the specialist and they said, look, we found a massive tumor here. This has been here for 3-4 years at least.
Wow,
Stop it.
Really?
So yeah, here's the thing for all the folks at home, especially if your sons, your husbands, your boyfriends, anybody. What they don't tell you in the medical field, because it's all got to do with insurance, is that, and this is coming from the best oncologists in the world, is that you should basically at the age of 30, you should be getting a checkup. The reason why they say 40 is that places like Australia and other places where Medicare and so takes care of it, they leave it later because it will cost the government more if they did it at an early stage to pick up the young men. So, for example, when I had colon cancer, the doctor was saying, look, we don't know what's going on. Majority of our clientele are young, healthy men that don't smoke, don't drink. I don't smoke. I hardly drink. And here I am. I've got this thing that wants to kill me.
And they can't get it out?
Yeah, they cut it out. It was successful surgery.
So they take that 8 centimeter tumor.
Yeah.
8 centimeters, man. That's a good sized tumor, right?
The first time they put me to sleep, so I didn't feel anything. The second time, the oncologist, it wasn't the oncologist,
Surgeon.
The surgeon had to tattoo it so the surgeon could cut it out. So I was awake when they put the camera and did everything. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that you don't want to do. It was extremely uncomfortable. Even the dog knows it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Coco, sit down.
What do you mean tattoo it?
So what they do, so let's just say this is the tumor. They'll go in and they'll mark it with a pen.
Ooh.
So when they know when they get, they can know where it is.
Yeah. So when the surgeon goes in, all the work's done. Just cut at this line. So that was, oh my gosh, that was.
So they cut it out. You're now woken up. The doctor says to you, it was successful.
Here's the thing. They cut it out. Now what they've got to do, which is like the scariest part, was they do all this. They dissect it and then they see if it's in your lymph nodes. Because once it's in your lymph nodes, it can spread and you can be pretty much in trouble. So we had to wait 2 days. And can I tell you, in those 2 days, look, I knew nothing. Here's the crazy thing. I knew nothing of cancer before this. Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
Do you have it in your family?
No, nothing.
So you had the 2 days of waiting to see.
2 days. And then I remember I was living on the Golden Mile on the Palm Jumeirah, by the way.
In
Great
Dubai,
place.
yeah.
Please add pool facilities. Would greatly appreciate it. And I remember the phone call coming at night and the specialist was talking to my wife, Yola, and I remember I was just at the wall standing up with my head against the wall. The room was dark and this was the news, whether you were up creek or everything's okay. Because once it's in your lymph nodes, once it penetrates the wall,
there's not a lot they can do.
There are things they can do, but what it does, they'll say, okay, you've got a 20% chance of living to this age. It's all statistics. And can I just say, and this is coming from about 3-4 oncologists, they really don't know what they're doing. And this is coming from them. This is all a guessing game. They just work on statistics, right? They'll go, how many people have had colon?
Because obviously everyone's different.
Everyone's completely different. So here I am in the dark and I could hear my wife cry and I'm like, so it's bad news. I go, okay, I'm ready for this, whatever, man. And then it was tears of joy.
Because it wasn't in your lymph nodes.
Nothing had spread. Because once it gets into your lymph node, ladies and gentlemen, it just basically, it gets distributed all over your body. You could.
Can you see it with an X-ray? No.
No, they do to be really thorough. So you have MRIs and the best and the only way with the technology nowadays is called a PET scan. So they put radioactive gear in your blood. You will go through an MRI machine, if I'm correct. Sorry, if I'm forgetting, it's because the coffee. And then it'll come up with an image. And if it's red, there's a military saying red is for dead, which is not fun. But the more red it is, it's cancerous. And they could see spots at a nuclear level, really small. So the news is that you're fine. Like it hasn't penetrated. And then it was cheers, happiness. And then while the surgeon was at it, he found another little tumor around my stomach area. Don't know how it got there. And he cut that out a little bit, cut it out. And then they said, and then I did a PET scan after that and they said, you're clear, you're good. But what we're going to do is protocol. We're going to hit you with 6 months of chemotherapy. And it was during that 6 months that I developed, if I can pronounce it correctly, peritoneal cancer. Basically, it's like stomach cancer. But imagine an onion. It's on the outer layer, so nothing has penetrated. So I'm really lucky, touch wood. It's on the out. So can you imagine 6 months of chemo and you don't want to go through, listen, you don't want to wish chemotherapy on your worst enemy. It's horrible. It is, listen, I've been on the front line. I've seen death. I've been in the boxing ring. I've been hit. I've broken my nose twice. I know what pain is. Give me that any time of the day over chemotherapy.
Why? How do you feel when you're on chemo?
Okay, so they give you a canister. You go in, it was 12 cycles, if I'm correct, once a month. So you go into hospital, they give it to you, and they insert it through a port. Right
So
here.
you can still see.
No, that's a piece of metal.
That's still the metal. I don't know if you can get it on the
It's a
camera.
piece of metal.
Which sits there.
Yeah,
In his chest.
Yeah.
In your chest, yeah, it's like a piece of metal that's sitting in the chest. They put it into that, and
Yeah.
that goes directly into your body.
Yeah,
And
distributes.
how often are you doing that?
So they'll give it to you for the day, and then you'll leave the hospital that day with a canister that you've got for 48 hours. And then it takes about 3 weeks where you're up shit creek.
You feel
and
you feel horrible.
Yeah, and then the last couple of days you're feeling good. You finally feel good, and then you get that chemo again.
So it's this cycle of horrible couple of days of feeling good, and then you feel crap again.
You're throwing up. If you're not taking the medication they give you on time, I was at the cinema a couple of times throwing up. I feel sorry for the people behind me.
You throw up.
Basically, listen, it's poison.
Yeah.
That's it. Regardless, it's just a deadly poison that kills everything. And
So when they got the tumor out of the colon, this stomach thing that happened is completely separate. Like this just grew on its own.
It wasn't even there.
Are they saying that the chemo could have grown it, or
So,
are they saying that we don't know?
No one really knows. That's the crazy thing. And they say, oh, look, it happens and so and so. But I remember my oncologist at the time, he goes, I'm shocked. I don't know. This has never happened in my 30 years. So, we came back from Turkey. I had my birthday in Istanbul, came back. And I just knew when I came back, like my wife was celebrating, it's done, we've gotten over it. And I'm like, it's not over until they give me,
clear sign.
It's
you're
all
good.
clear signs. So they found it, and it was like 20 to 30 little spots all across my stomach. And then I was like, all right, what are we going to do? And he decided we're going to give you a different type of chemo. It's called targeted chemotherapy. So it's a different type of chemotherapy that, and it was the worst. He's like, listen, it's going to work if your face breaks out in pimples. Now, I've never had pimples growing up. I was very lucky. And my face broke out into one big zip.
So they know it works if you get pimples on your face?
Yes, but that's absolute crap because that happened and
it didn't work.
It didn't work at all. And I'm not going to name the hospital because it could happen in any hospital around the world. But what they did with my tumors, they sent them to a big pharmaceutical company in the States. They did a full DNA breakdown. So it tells you, what cells you've got and blah, blah, blah. And it basically said in the report that I found out later that chemotherapy doesn't work on me. But the doctor forgot to read that. And I only found that out is because my doctor in Dubai basically gave me...
But the first one worked?
No, it never worked. The chemo never ever worked.
Oh, because it was the surgery that worked. They took it out, right?
Yeah. So my doctor, my first oncologist in Dubai basically said, Mr. Darwish, there's nothing I can do for you anymore. And I hate when they say this, good luck. They always say, I just hate that word now, good luck. And I remember just sitting there and what had started to happen, my stomach started to swell up. I had massive stomach pains because that was from the cancer, it was releasing fluid. And we took a flight from Dubai to Melbourne because there's a place called Peter Mac. It's probably one of the best cancer clinics in the world, publicly funded, but millions of dollars go in every year from families that just donate hundreds of millions, I would say. So I get to Melbourne and now my stomach is the size of a pregnant woman. And I've shown you a photo before. And I really wanted to die. I'll be honest with you. I was in so much pain for like 2-3 weeks and they didn't really know what to do because one surgeon wanted to do a type of surgery where they cut you open and they put chemotherapy directly on the tumors. And the other wanted me to do what they call immunotherapy, which is what I'm on now. Is that your little girls?
Yeah, the girls are coming home from school. We may have a little appearance here. So what did they do? What did they end up going with?
So I'm sitting in this clinic where one specialist is saying doing this and the other specialist is doing that. Here I am dying. I can't even eat. I've got 8 liters of fluid inside of me. So what they decided to do was they decided to drain me. So I went into hospital. They stuck big needles in and they took out 6 liters straight away of fluid. 6 liters. No. And then the specialist basically said, listen, Mr. Darwish, you're going to be fine now. This is a byproduct of what you're going through. Worst case scenario, you're going to come back in a fortnight and you might have another liter. That, as soon as they took it out, 2 liters popped back into my body. Yeah. The next day. Wow. And they were freaking out. They're like, this has never happened before. Like, and it was, I don't even want to tell you what it feels like. You just shut down. You were miserable. I remember walking up the road with my wife to go to the shops. I just broke down crying because I'm used to running in hard terrain. I used to train side by side with the Australian Special Forces, the SAS, the clearance divers / the Navy SEALs. I used to train with these guys 5 days a week for 2-3 years. I could keep up with these boys. All of a sudden, I can't walk 50 meters up the road without breathing heavily and my body wanting to shut down. And so my specialist basically said, listen, you're going to try this miracle drug. It's called immunotherapy. There's a 50% chance that it's going to work. And if it works, it's going to take 6 months. My guardian angels were above me. It worked within 4 days. The pain pretty much all went away.
And immunotherapy, from what I understand, just hanging out with you, they plug it into that chest. Can we get that? Can we get the chest? Can we show the chest again?
Should have shaven, sorry.
They didn't offer that here. They don't have that here.
No, here's the thing that this is what really upset me is that the oncologist here at the first hospital I went to didn't even bring it up.
Yeah.
Do they have it here?
Yeah, of course I'm getting it done here. They've had it all the time.
It's basically, from what I understand, it's like your immune system that we all have an immune system.
Yeah.
It's like 10,000 times your immune system getting pumped into him.
I don't know how many times, but basically
whatever it is. It's like
helping you. It boosts your immune system.
It's like throwing Superman into your body to say, go and kill everything.
They say
get you
that if you catch everything, because they have these things now where you do the full body checkups and everything, they say that if you get it early enough, you can get rid of any cancer.
Yeah. Colon cancer is very, from my own studies, my grandmother actually had colon cancer. That's how she passed away. But so it does happen in females. But early detection, like any cancer, is so important. So if you get that screening, usually what they see is polyps.
Yep.
So it can start off as little polyps, not a tumor. Those polyps can turn into a tumor. But if you go in early enough, the doctor just scrapes them and gets rid of those polyps. They never grow into a tumor. I know through my family. That's why I need to go get one. My mum gives me crap every day. Like, have you gone and got a colonoscopy?
Yeah, no, I do all. I've done a full body everything, but it wasn't covered by insurance. I had to go and pay
for it.
Pay for, I think it's called like a full body scan. I did it when I moved here.
You sit in the machine, just scans you and it sees
everything. Blood,
Unless
skin.
you get a PET scan, you'll never pick anything up.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, because they only give pretty much PET scans to people that have cancer.
Okay.
I had one of those for my thyroid.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Because I've got thyroid goiters, which they thought was cancerous. So they injected this dye into my body, and they can see where it is.
Painful?
No, the injection of dye is just like, it's like they're flushing you. I don't remember feeling pain. It was just
it's not. No
it's just
pain
like,
at
it's
all.
like getting a blood test, but they flush you in with something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and get one of those.
Yeah, you'll get probably won't. They probably won't approve it.
I
could be wrong.
You know who she is?
She knows everyone, mate.
She knows everyone.
She knows Kim
Caroline
Kardashian.
Stanbury.
I work for hospitals. I'm sure I can get it.
I'll
It's
be
called a PET
paying her to
scan.
do it. I'll be like, bring her in.
Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah, do it. If
I want to do it. Let's go do it. Yeah. What's it called? A PET
PET
scan.
scan.
Yeah.
Like a PET, PET.
Yeah, PET.
So now you've got.
This.
Where are you today? So today, where are we today?
I'm stuck in limbo right now. So I'm kind of doing a documentary at the moment. I'm trying to get a show done now because I feel like, all the people I meet that have got cancer. So you've either got cancer at an early stage or you're lucky enough to nip it in the butt and then you go into remission, which means, I'll give you an example.
You're always in remission.
Yeah, you're always in remission, but it's up to 5 years. So you'll go 3 months, 3 months, 6 months, year, 5 years, you're clean.
So you're in remission right now?
No, I'm not even, I'll never be in remission.
Why?
Because the immunotherapy is just keeping everything at bay. It's kind of deactivated the activity of the tumors.
It's still
the
there.
The tumors are still there.
Right.
And until they come up with a new method.
And there's just too many to cut them all out.
Yeah, and the bad thing with cutting them out. So for example, The plan was with the chemo, if it had to work, you would shrink the tumors and then they would go in there. And the surgery was apparently, so I've been told, would take anything between 6 to 12 hours. That's how ruthless that surgery
But
is.
I'm kind of confused as well because when they went in the first time, there wasn't 30 tumors. Now there's 30 tumors in the space of 4 weeks.
If I haven't confused. So first of all, the first one was colon. So now it's not colon anymore. It went from the butt to the stomach.
Yeah, but they were already inside, right? Isn't, or you can't see?
No, they just popped up. The chemo.
No, I know. I mean, sorry. When the surgeons looked at you, surely they didn't just look at that area after that.
The full PET scan came out nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're saying did those 30 little tumors
30 tumors grew in the time of you had
6 months.
one removed. You have 30. And then which must be unheard of. And also, so forget that. On top of it, we've just said, because I heard that you can get rid of any cancer if you catch it early enough. Well, surely these are really early.
Yeah, but guess what happened? During that 6 months after they did the PET scan, they were, let's just hypothetically say they were at 1 centimetre on average. They get 2 months of targeted chemotherapy, they doubled in size.
Wow.
Yeah, they really stuffed up at this hospital.
Okay, I really want to go and get a PET scan. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean...
Because my grandfather had cancer and I do have it in my family.
I just find that... was it because we were younger we never thought about cancer? I just feel like I hear it everywhere now. Like I always... People in my scene, my circles, this person, I'm like...
No, it's not that. It's not because we didn't hear about it. It's just because we are getting older. And as we get older, these things...
People that we know are getting older, so...
Yeah, and that these things all crop up.
But it's not about getting older. Like if I went to Peter Mac in Australia, there's hundreds of kids.
I know.
Thousands of kids. You just don't see it in Dubai.
I know you
because
do.
in Dubai,
I worked at Great Ormond Street. I used to see it a lot, and I went for the cancer wards. So the children's cancer wards are just heartbreaking. Oh. But the one thing about children's cancer wards is that they are children, and they recover and deal with it so much better than adults do. It's terrible for the adult, terrible as a parent, but the children are just so... I mean, I went in there and I was the one sort of in floods of tears, and the kids are so happy and they're on the right because they don't really know any different.
Yeah.
And it's awful to say, but they handle it better. And it's, and they do rebound, a lot of them. And then the ones that, it's just an awful thing. You wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's the most heartbreaking thing to see.
So how do you feel now, Ziggy? Mind you, Ziggy and I have been training nearly 5 days a week together. He's training with me.
Well, he has to get on with his life now.
And he's training me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you had that thing in the, what do you call the thing in the chest?
It's a port.
The port that he goes and gets his done. I didn't know. I had no idea until one day we were boxing together and he's like...
You have to, it must be all like mind, because otherwise you give up
and
or
him and
you
I
continue.
talk about it a lot. It's a mental game right now, isn't it?
It's, you know what it is? You see all this stuff online, I'm a fighter, I'm this, I'm that. I am a fighter. I've been a little troublemaker at a very young age, and I've been in the ring and I've been in the military. Yeah, you got to fight, but it's not what the media makes it out to be, like Superman, superhero. You just got to get on with it. You got no choice. Yeah. You really have no choice.
I think he is probably just trying to have a normal day, which is hard. Because it must be a mental thing that you wake up with every single morning looming over you. But I also think, actually I was talking about this with a girlfriend of mine the other day, saying, do you know at our age we have 10,000 days left on this planet, regardless, like us. So we were discussing this the other day. What would you do if you've got 10,000 days left? How would you spend them? I mean, okay, yours might be a little shorter, or it might be in the same. You don't know. And the thing is, regardless of where it's about living every single day and making it count, because honestly, we could be hit by a bus as we leave here.
Yep.
And you could outlive us.
Yeah.
So it's
That'd
mind.
Be nice,
What, being hit by a bus?
Yeah. Outliving us, I think, Chris.
You will.
You know what? It's really funny. Like everything you're saying is what I hear, but it's like, and I say to myself,
it's easy for me to say it here without it.
It's not you. It's just you just hear this a lot, like all these so-called inspirational people on Instagram and YouTube and all that. I'm like, mate, trust me, go jump. You got no idea until you're in it. Because when you want to live, if it's your last few days, what are you going to do? I'll be honest, there's really not much to do. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being real. I've lived with it for 2 years, every day for 2 years. And I can tell you, it's not like, oh my God, I need to go to Santorini and check out. No, no, I'll tell you what it's about. Okay. Life isn't about the handbags, the watches, being seen. I've done that.
So I'm just taking off my Rolex.
Yeah, I'm taking off my Casio, by the way.
Throwing them across the room.
This, I've been in Dubai for 13 years now. I've trained the sheikhs to many billionaires, not millionaires, billionaire businessmen. I've been given the gifts. I've been traveling all over the world. I've lived it, but without having the money. But thank you, everyone. And that's not real. It's rubbish, because all that really matters right now is just hanging out. And I love hanging out with Chris more than, like, Chris is pretty much the realest guy in Dubai. Those that don't know you, and I know because you're on Virgin Radio and you're a personality, but it's just hanging out with really good people that like you, that love you, having a laugh, eating good food. And that's what life's about. That's it. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you.
100%. I'm with you. I used to want so much more out of life, and I don't. Like, if anything, I'd like to simplify my life. I've literally got rid of anyone that sort of gives negativity, non-positive vibes. I want to travel. I love my family.
Travel.
That's it.
Family, good friends.
Good friends.
Laugh. Don't get me wrong. You can be like my wife and spend my money on clothes every day in Modena and Capri and all these other nice places, but that's all that I'm telling you. I've saved up for the big watch. I've done it all. I've been that idiot that the world wants you to be. You know what I mean? I've hung out with celebrities. It's so shallow, and I'm not saying don't do it. Do it.
But I think that comes with age. A lot of people go through that. I think it comes with age regardless.
You've got to do it.
Yeah, I'm more for the point of, like, if it makes you happy,
do it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to go and spend $100,000 on a watch, but it makes you happy, do it. But I'm with you. The basics of I feel the basics of life is hanging out with good people,
That's it.
your family, having great food, being healthy, like remain as in, keeping active and just
I live in a very nice little bubble with my family and my friends, and
you go to the gym, you do your thing, you see your friends, you have dinner.
I'm not, it's not as much as, I think you can see that actually why people do like following me is I don't have this giantly shallow lifestyle. I really don't. And, I've definitely, I've definitely like downsized everything in my life with my friends and my family, and I throw myself into work, which gives it a passion. Yeah. And I think, just every day waking up and just looking in the mirror and going, like killing the day for you. And I think, probably the hardest thing, is, again, I'm not waking up in your shoes. It's just being able to get on with a lovely day with your family and put it to the back of your mind.
Just get on with it.
Get on with it, because
which is the hardest thing
at the end of the day,
in a situation.
You could have another 30 years, and you could have another.
It's so. Do you know, before this happened, I used to think, you'll see poverty in places of the world, and you would say, common sense would say, listen, mate, why don't you just end it? Why don't you just end your life? Like you'll hear stories in Africa where guys will, do whatever just for a piece of bread just to live. And I'm like, living in my first world country, well, that's no way to live, mate. If you can end your life, end it. But now I get it. It's in our DNA to live. It really is. Generally, I know there's suicides and things along those lines.
It's all relative too, because I've been to some of the biggest, poverty-stricken areas, and, where you think you literally walk in and it's hell on earth for me to see. I mean, literally hell on earth. And it's one of the, murder capitals of the world. And it was like, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And they have less than zero. But the children and everyone growing up in there, they were happy. They were happy, and their hair was done. And I'm saying it because I was shocked, like as in They don't know any different. So, they do want to live too.
Yeah.
And that was a life for them, although you think it isn't a life. But, again, you're talking about us who've seen palaces. We've seen different countries. They've never even seen the internet. So they don't even know that other countries exist.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's, a beautiful island over there. You can go and sit and have a spa. They have never seen anything like that. So right now, that's their reality. And they're incredibly happy.
Yeah.
And they're also programmed to live. And you're thinking these little children are playing with shards of glass like it's a football.
Yeah.
But that shard of glass is their football, and they're quite happy with it. And you're like, it's incredible. And so, I have seen stuff like that, and I do understand the difference and how we were all programmed to live. Because frankly, if you put me in there, I'd want to kill myself probably. Yeah. But they're perfectly happy with their lot.
Yeah.
So you live in every day, just as it is, taking it as it comes.
It's always, you become a bit of a hypochondriac. You'll feel a bit of pain, and you're like, oh, what's that? You know what I mean? And then you there'll be a lot. It's just always in the back of your mind. You just can't shake it. I feel good. I feel great. I just saw the oncologist the other day. Every 3 weeks.
You found a better one, obviously.
So I came back to Dubai, and then I went to American Hospital, and I was really peeved at the system here, because I'm thinking, I went to 2 oncologists. I went to a public and a private one in Melbourne, and they got the report from my oncologist, my first one in Dubai, and they're like, hang on, we can't figure this out. It says in his report that you shouldn't be on chemo. So why did he put you on chemo? They both said this, and they're like, he mustn't have read it.
So frustrating.
And he's not going to, look, everyone makes a mistake, but it's my life he made a mistake with. And I was really angry. You hear a lot all over the world. It happens everywhere. But I didn't even bother putting in a complaint or anything, because I just couldn't be bothered. I don't know how long I've got, but I just can't be bothered fighting the system and all that. So as soon as I came back, I had to get the immunotherapy, and you can get this medication anywhere in the world.
How much does it cost?
It costs 45,000 dirhams every 3 weeks.
So that is, I want to say, close to $19,000 US.
So, mate, I know people.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you pay for that?
Insurance. You couldn't do it without insurance. You'd be dead.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And if you want to go down that road, I know other people that are on medication every 3 weeks, 60,000 dirhams for a pill. Yeah.
One pill.
Yeah, one pill. This is coming from
24,000 US dollars.
Yeah, and it
That's
was even
insane.
I was living in Italy for 3 months. They were charging almost 16,000 euros, so it was more expensive there. In Australia, it was 6,000 Australian dollars, which is 612, about 17,000 dirhams.
That's criminal in itself, isn't it?
Look, at the end of the day, being in the driver's seat, it's a big business. That's it. The chemo, the immune, everything is, we're talking trillions a year.
Do you think they've got a cure that they haven't released?
So I've asked, 2 oncologists reckon they've got the cure.
Stop it.
I swear.
2 oncologists from where?
No, I won't.
No, in this country or another country?
No, in one in Italy,
Yeah.
and I had 2 oncologists in Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm talking the best in the country. I'm not going to say the names. The best in the country that have won awards worldwide. They're like, listen, we believe that there is a particular cure, because the thing with, there's so many different type of cancers. It's not like you can find that one pill that's going to, and you've got different stages.
So many conspiracy theories, though, with medical profession.
But I can tell you in the driver's seat, I've spoken to so many people, and they're like, we don't know. They tell you they don't know. They don't know. They don't know where you got it. They don't know how it started. They don't know. I just spoke to my oncologist last Wednesday when I got my immunotherapy, and I'm like, I'm stuck in limbo, aren't I? I go, I can be in immunotherapy for 10, 20 years. He goes, yeah, until we come up with something.
And they'll continue paying for that long?
Oh, hopes. Well, it's, you would hope so. You would hope in the next, I know in Australia, they reckon, so we have Medicare in Australia. Australia's probably got one of the best health systems in the world for public. So right now for immunotherapy, if you've got lung cancer, the government covers it, but they're using me as a bit of an experiment right now for what I've got, peritoneal cancer, pretty much on the outer layer. They tried this cancer. They tried the immunotherapy for this type of cancer, and it worked for me. So, but Medicare doesn't cover it because there's not many people that are utilizing this immunotherapy for my type of cancer. But they reckon in the next 2-3 years, it will become part of the public system. So, but while I'm in Dubai, I've got insurance. So, hope, inshallah, as they say, that it, I even spoken to my oncologist. I go, in a country like this, it's all business.
Well, it's in any country, it's all business. And unfortunately, it is a business.
No, but like I said, back in Australia, under the Australian government, under the public sector, Medicare, it will eventually cover it.
Right.
So it's fine.
In most countries, it's
in
business.
Dubai is, I love Dubai, but we're not Emirati, we're not locals. That's it, we're expatriates. So as long as I have insurance, it'll get covered. But it's just crazy knowing that every 3 weeks I've got to go in for a top up. I've got to schedule my holidays around my top ups.
How has it affected your marriage? Has it affected your marriage, or you're closer?
I would say it put a lot of stress on the marriage.
Yeah.
But it's definitely brought us closer, because it, like.
Would you have children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want children. Initially, my wife is really tough. You'll never meet anyone stronger or smarter than my wife.
If it's not rude, how old is she and you?
She's 43.
And you?
42.
Okay.
I look great, yeah. So she's so tough that she just puts on this mask like everything's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be with the chemo in bed, throwing up, and she's like, "No, you'll be right."
Yeah, well, she has to.
Do you know?
There's no, what's the good in her breaking down?
No, I'm not saying breaking down, but I can just visualize other partners that I've had in the past that they would be very
sympathetic. Or like,
it's
are you
probably
okay,
like,
baby this, baby that.
She's
just
good.
coping medicine.
Tough.
Yeah, that's probably what you need in that situation sometimes, of that toughness.
But that's just, that's got to take a massive toll on her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just kills me every day knowing that I put her through this. The thing is, it's crazy. Like, if things were to go south, I don't really care about me. Like, okay, I'll have a whinge. I don't want to die. Right? I know it sounds silly, but it's true. I don't want to die.
She's in.
But I just care about my wife and my parents and my loved one. I don't want them to hurt. I know that sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, no,
I worry more about my wife than I worry about myself.
Yeah, well, it's always, they say it's the people left behind. It's
yeah,
harder.
I always think about, you think as a parent, which you're not a parent yet, but if you only ever think if something happened to us, touch wood, it doesn't, you just think of your kids.
But I think with the position you're in now, as I said, easier said than done. You just have to act as if it's gone in a way, because you just can't.
I wouldn't even be having this conversation if it wasn't for Chris. No one knew about this. Only about 10 people. My dad doesn't even know I've got this.
Your dad doesn't know now?
Here's a question. Why should I tell a 72-year-old man that's got diabetes 2, who's retired in Australia, why should I tell him? I use common sense. I think I don't know, maybe I'm weird.
Yeah,
but
maybe
why am I going to give him the stress?
Yeah.
Why am I going to put him in the grave?
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm crazy. I told my mum, that was the worst. My mum, having a Lebanese mum, you want to tell your Lebanese mum that you got this?
Are they divorced?
No.
So she has to keep it from him?
Yeah, I told her, don't you dare. Because I know stress. I've been on the front line. I know what stress does.
How does she cope on her own then?
She just doesn't stop sending
messages.
Ya habibi, ya zia. Oh, just relax, woman. It's all good. We're all good, mate.
You're lucky she hasn't moved over.
And she saw me going through the chemo.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be strong for my mum. I've always been like the strong. I come from a family, we're all tough little boys. Here I am in the corner of the couch, just like a little baby, just trying to hang in there. And here's my mum just watching her son for weeks on end. Just.
How does she keep that from your dad? That's amazing.
I just told her. I said, "You tell him you're going to put him in the grave."
Well, that's true. That's probably true, to be honest. Yeah.
So the future is living it day by day right now. You say it's Limbo, the documentary that he's filming about himself, basically, which is self-shot, is about, it's called Limbo.
Yeah, Stuck in Limbo.
Stuck in Limbo.
Cancerous adventure.
Great title.
So yeah, it is. We'll let you, once it's out and finished.
Yeah, it's basically just, I just want to, Okay, there's a lot of stuff out there. I've watched, you wouldn't believe, as soon as you go through this, you watch all the YouTube, the documentaries.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there that kind of is like a guide when you get this.
Would you really watch it? Why?
I wish.
Because everyone's different. How you react to chemo is
Correct.
going to be someone else's. It's not going to be the same journey.
Absolutely, but so I'm a bit of a larrikin, as they say in Australia. I like to take the piss. And I know going through hardship and death and everything, and I've seen my mates in the military die and all that. I just know one thing that being an Australian has taught me is to, if you can have a smile and get on with it, I think that's what's really needed. And one of my good friends, his father just passed away a week ago, and I had a good conversation with him beforehand to help him prep. You know, if that helped out my friend, I said, you know, I would say a few things like, listen, I'm going through it. If you got anything to say to your dad, right? You know, I'm not going to get into it, but I want to do something where people, because it's, I don't want to do the video just for people going through it. Because everyone's going to be affected by this. You, whether it's a friend, family, or yourself. Where eventually it's going to affect someone in your circle one day. Or
everyone's going to die eventually anyway. So, we all experience death.
Cancer's going to hit someone around in your circle as you get older. I hate to say it, but it's true. So I just want to document my little adventures because I'm a bit crazy, you know, my travels and, you know, trying to find a cure for me and help people along the ways. And I think the thing I want to do most is I want to get people to go get checkups because all my mates I've told, nobody's going to get a checkup. All the big bad fighters, all the big bad men I know are too scared to go get a checkup.
Yeah, because you're afraid to hear what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Hear it or,
We're going.
We're down.
You know?
Down.
Ziggy, on Instagram, what's the best way to follow you if they want to follow your journey? We'll put it all in the tags.
Ziggy's World Adventure.
Ziggy's
World Adventure.
Adventure.
And one thing, if folks are watching this at home, I need a little bit of love and help with my adventure. I am going to purchase a place in Lake Como, a place called Chernobyl, which is, if you know about Lake Como, it's huge. And Como itself is for the pretentious people. Around the lake is beautiful and gorgeous and where the normal Italians live. I'm going to purchase a place up there where I'm just going to send people who are going through it, or people like if your wife needs to relax for a week, come and use my place. Because the beautiful thing about Como is you can just walk up mountain. Sheikh Mohammed was there a couple of weeks ago walking around Lake Como. It's just such a gorgeous place.
So your vision is to buy a place where people who are going through this can go out and chill for a couple of weeks, whatever, or for free. They don't have to pay for anything.
No, just pay for your flights. You're going to have a bed and breakfast where you can stay, and we'll have activities for you. Go into town, hop on the lake. Just do whatever, because I'll tell you, I want to do this because I know that I needed a break from this. You know what I mean? I want to buy 1 or 2 properties up there where people can come from all over the world and chill and climb the mountains and drink some good coffee and eat some good food. And the great thing with Lake Como is that it's very spiritual, it's very relaxing, and it's just good for the soul.
It's a great idea.
If anyone can assist who's watching this or listening to it, get in contact with Ziggy.
Or just donate.
Yeah. I mean, you can work it out through there. Contact Ziggy directly and he'll sort it out. Listen, Ziggy, I'm sure this won't be the last time that we'll speak to you on the podcast. I think we should get you back at some stage in your little journey. I want especially once the documentary is out, finished, completed, and sold for millions of dollars.
Netflix, Amazon, get in contact. Stop buying silly content.
I think it was cool.
It was great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know that mustn't have been easy. Ziggy Darwish, follow him. We're Chris and Caroline's Not So Epic podcast. It was epic as usual. It was
amazing. Really cool. Really amazing. Fascinating.
Thank you again, Ziggy. Follow us.
Ziggy.
Send us your questions on Instagram. And again, if you want to get in contact and stay in contact.
Go get checked.
Yeah, go get checked. 100%.
Go get checked.
We out.
It's Chris Fade and Caroline Stanbury's Not So Epic podcast.
Brought to you by NMC Healthcare and Cosmosurge. Head to cosmosurge.com.